The Startup Owner's Manual by Steve Blank and Bob Dorf. Boy, oh boy, oh boy, this one is a classic. And many of the popular business books of the last decade or two really are riffing on themes from this book. So it deserves its own course on apolloskills.com. It's totally free. And it deserves special consideration because there are some themes in here that almost are taken for granted for serial entrepreneurs. So if you want to brush up on your skills, or maybe you're a first-time entrepreneur, CEO, or founder, this book is so good. This should definitely be in your library. So let's get into things like customer development process, business model canvas, pivoting and validating. These are all fantastic ways in which to optimize your chances of success. Like any course on apolloskills.com, we have PDF summary, audio summary, a quiz, homework activity, instant feedback on your homework. So it'll be done there and then. So you can go from zero to hero in 30 minutes. Boy, it sounds pretty good, and it's totally free. And we will start by one of the biggest truths in this book, the Startup Owner's Manual, which is in a startup, no facts exist inside the building, only opinions. Don't get me started. So many times you see CEOs and founders sitting around the table, falling in love with their own ideas and forgetting there's also a customer involved in this. So they get very animated and they're very affectionate towards their own ideas as CEOs and founders. And they forget that if they cannot prove that the customer needs, wants, and loves this, you don't have a business. You don't have a business at all. The good thing is that the Startup Owner's Manual actually helps us solve this. So don't you worry. I have the answers in the next few minutes. So first of all, customer discovery. You need to be systematic about finding out what segment, whether it's consumers or other businesses, what ages, demographics, psychographics, and behaviors. You have to find out all of these things, and then you need to test them. And it could be you thought your customer was older than they actually were, younger. Maybe they're of an ethnic makeup. Maybe as a B2B, maybe there's a decision-making unit that looks wildly different than what you imagined. My point here is you need to go out and discover, prove, validate who your customer actually is. And if you do this, the next step is, okay, so you know who the customer is, but then the next big question here is like, are they going to pay for it? So there's been many good products that customers love, but then once they said you got to pay for it, people were like, I'm out of here. Or it got copied by another company. So you got to find something that people are willing to pay for, key word. And this book will help you uncover that. So a ton here about generating customers and demand. So these kind of work you can kind of see the sequence, right? You got to find out who the customer is, will they pay, and now can you attract them? And growing that customer base can be quite challenging because what you have to really do is anchor yourself in the pains and gains of the customer in their world. Now, when you talk about your product, you're talking about you and your thing. You're not necessarily talking about their problem that needs to be solved. So you need to make this huge transition over here. And then you need to go out into channels and you need to find them and you need to work out how to interest them and convert them and hold on to them. There's so much here, and the Startup Manual is going to help you. A couple of key things I want to call out here is one of the key things to doing this is having a hypothesis and testing it. Getting into scaling. I mentioned distribution channels. I mean, we could do a whole podcast on like all the different channels and how every company has a different mix of channels. You can learn about that. Now, another thing here that we didn't mention yet is pivoting. So as you're going on this journey, at some point you're going to go, you know what? I want to do a customer pivot or a feature pivot or a whole entire market pivot. Those things are all at your discretion. And this book is really going to help you unlock that. And if you do this course, you're going to be really on the way to actually doing a pivot better. And any good company is going to have pivoted many, many times. So there you have it, the Startup Owner's Manual. It's a free course at apolloskills.com. Get to know your customer, how to get them to pay, where to find them, do all of those things, and you will have not just a startup, you might even get towards a scale up. Now, doesn't that sound good? So head over to apolloskills.com and get this course for free.